Welcome to Sexy Mom Abundant Life with best-selling author and coach Kathy Williams, a show to help you tap into the support of the universe and access the abundance that's available in every area of your life. Listen in for conversations and tools to create more ease, joy, and possibility with family, relationships, business, and living. Kathy's joyful perspective will help you tap into your own wisdom and create a life of presence and abundance your way. Listen live on Thursdays at 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific, or anytime on iTunes or at IOM FM.
Welcome to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, everyone. This is Kathy Williams. I'm smiling here because I'm battling a cat who wants to enter my territory. Oh, abundance in all its forms. Abundance is what this show is about. And, you know, a lot of times we think, oh, I have too much to do. Well, if we reframe that, it's I have an abundance of things to do. How can I dance with that most effectively to get the result that I would like? And not even the result I would like, the result that will create the greatest future, because sometimes the result we want actually won't create the greatest future. So anyway, I am playing with you here. If you would like to play with me and download a Create Your Life energy pull to sort of dance with the energies of what you would like the most, you can find that at meetkathywilliams.com. And then if you would like to attend my upcoming class, which is called Energy Mastery, because it's really about owning your thoughts, owning the energy that you're being. It's a one-time class. It's going to be amazing. I've done it with people before. It just transforms everything, especially if you have somewhere where you're stopping yourself or somewhere where you have like, I'm procrastinating on this and I just can't seem to get through it. Come join us in that class. It will change. And all of that stuff is at meetkathywilliams.com/upcoming. The upcoming things. So today's show is about the divine feminine and this world that is so externally oriented and driven and action oriented and values focus and choose now and go for it. And that is not actually the feminine way of being. And as we talk about this, and feel free to call in. The number is at IOM.FM. What I want to do is make sure that we don't discard the importance of the masculine. We don't assume that males are wrong, because each of us within us has the feminine and the masculine components, right? And they're both equally valuable. Right? We all need to act. We all need to be focused. The assertive, the outward going, and we all need to be nurturing and receptive and fluid and intuitive. There's not even need. That's like the dynamic balance of each of us has all of those. Now, some of us lean more to logical, intuitive, focused, driven versus intuitive, receptive. And our culture leans more to the masculine, which is why this show is about the divine feminine. But I don't want you to, I think in our culture a lot, we've started to, put this blame on the masculine, and that's certainly not my intention, and please don't use this information to do that, because again, we each have a dynamic balance of these qualities within us, like the yin-yang, right? There's the black and the white elements of that, and the black within the white and the white within the black. Similarly, that's how we function as beings walking on this planet. So as we explore this together, what I'd like you to do is look at yourself, to make this really practical, and did your life path and your teachers and your education and your parents and your society, and I know people listen to this show from across the world, so your culture may be different from the U.S. where I live. What did they feed? What did they value? And there may be various components. So perhaps your mom really did teach you to value sitting with yourself and tapping into your intuition, whereas school really didn't. Or maybe during your journey, the first part of your journey was very much based in the masculine, and then as you got older, you started to realize there was another way of functioning. So as you explore your journey and the various components and influences you have that impacted, that is like, people talk about the elements of nature versus nurture, right? Like, what did you come in with? Your dynamic balance of masculine, feminine, and maybe that yin yang is more black, right? Right? Like, that is your balance. And then maybe cultural components kind of pushed you to become more, I'm talking about a yin yang, I hope you know. So more of that white component, or if, we wanted to make it pink and green, it doesn't matter. But the idea here is to look at, like, what's my nature? For example, as a child, I was very imaginative, very intuitive, very spend hours in the garden creating my pretend scenes from a Secret Garden book, or putting together ballets and turning on Tchaikovsky on the cassette player and acting those out. Okay? So coming into this world, I already had more of the receptive, imaginative things at play. And then, of course, school came along, and I was lucky enough to go to Montessori school for a while, which still fed that sort of intuitive, now I want to do math. Now I'm ready to read or draw pictures way of being. But then at age 12 or 13, having to really settle in and do research papers, come middle school. So what are the parts that feel innate to you, innately masculine or feminine, dominant? And then what were the influences, and what was fed, and what was valued? Were you told you were making things up when you were imagining, and that was sort of disparaged? And then looking now, after having played with that, where do you function from the most as you walk through the world? Are you functioning more from the direct, right, directed attention, gotta get this done, sort of way of being? Do you walk from that place? Do you speak from that place? Is that what you value? Or the receptive, I'm flowing through life way of walking, of speaking, of being? And an exercise you can do, even at this moment, is if your legs are free and you're able to walk around. And what sort of characteristics are you displaying without trying to alter anything? Where are you functioning from? Knowing neither is right or wrong, good or bad. It's just, I wonder where I'm functioning from when I walk. And now start to move from the feminine. If I were functioning from my feminine nature, how would I walk? when I do this exercise, an element of flow, of grace starts to come into my presence if I really choose to tap into the feminine and function from there, to speak from there, to walk from there, to write from there, to express, even choose clothing from that space of how can I honor that feminine nature? Because even as a ballerina, it was very much rigidity and directed awareness and force. And that has become much of the way I direct attention and move through the world. And it's not wrong. It's so useful in many, many ways. It's got that discipline. Discipline is useful, right? So the thing is, in our world, and COVID has helped many people reassess and rebalance them, but there is that tilt toward the yang, toward the doing, instead of the being, and the ease and the availability of being. So now as you walk, as you function, start to come from the space of the masculine and see what that's like. If your inner masculine, we're at play right now. And if you're driving, drive from that place. Well, how would it function? Both are super useful. So in your life, if you know where you function from most of the time, you can start to play with the energies and redirect. I know sometimes when I want to get my way, I want to be very forceful. And if I would sort of retract into myself and embody the feminine more, and a sense of curiosity and empathy. Oh yeah, tell me more about how you see it that way. Okay. Then sometimes that is more likely to get me the desired outcome. So functioning from the place of masculine or feminine is an awareness that you can use to create different effects, just depending on the space you're in, the person you're with, the desired result. And if you've found that you're more imbalanced toward the masculine and everything's got to be, for a particular reason or purpose, start to explore not doing it for a particular reason, doing it for the beauty of something. That the reason can be because it feels good. And as a spiritual practitioner, many of the spiritual paths that we're familiar with are masculine oriented. Sit, direct your focus, transcend your body, or honor these masculine gods, in the forms that they show up. And I'm certainly not saying you need to abdicate your religion or create a new one or anything like that. To find and honor the feminine and the female path is a powerful addition to any practice that we're doing. These masculine-oriented paths often deny the body or invite us to transcend the body, or, you'll be happy in some future that is not on planet Earth. When I was in Greece a couple of years ago, I was on a tour and they were talking about the pantheon of gods and goddesses and the various archetypes and expressions of God that these represent. One of the tour guides was very bitter about Christianity coming in And again, this is not to make Christianity wrong. It's just a perspective. And he was saying, when we were really honoring our traditional gods and goddesses, we were able to celebrate this earthly life, knowing that it is divine. Okay? Not that this earthly life is full of sin and terribleness, and all the true happiness lies after you die. But embrace God as Dionysus in wine and partying. Embrace God in the harvest as Athena. All these, I don't know if it's Athena now, but all of these different expressions of God made manifest in the world as the things you are already doing. And this is the feminine path. Okay? The feminine path is understanding that the body is not something to be transcended, something that's dirty, something that, it's sinful and sort of treated with scorn. It is that the body is an aspect of God itself, God herself. And as you treat it as that, you make it into a dwelling place for more of God to emanate through and as you, and radiate that in every one of your interactions and every one of your choices. And that's available right now. So we're going to head to break, but I'll talk more about the feminine path when we get back. Thank you so much for listening to Sexy Mom Abundant Life, and I'll be back in just a moment.
Feed your soul with waves of consciousness on OMTimes Radio. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to Sexy Mom Abundant Life. I'm so grateful you're here. As a listener, you can pop over to meetkathywilliams.com and get 20% off any item in the shop, including videos, energy pulls, even private sessions, by entering the code SMRadio. Also at meetkathywilliams.com, you can download a free Create Your Life exercise and join me for online classes and Hawaii retreats. And if you're stuck, helping you get unstuck is my specialty. I'd love to work with you one-on-one.
COVID-19, brought to you by CDC and the Ad Council.
Do you feel like your emotions are all over the place? That's normal during this abnormal time. There are a number of ways to cope. Maintain a healthy routine, get enough sleep, eat nutritious food, and exercise at least 30 minutes each day. Schedule some time to talk with a friend or family member. And remember, you can always take a few deep breaths to feel more centered.
Find more self-care and coping tips at coping-19.org.
Welcome back to Sexy Mom, Abundant Life. It's Kathy Williams, and today's show is about embodying the divine feminine in a masculine world, because masculine is not wrong. It's part of who we are. We are logical, we are directed, we are focused, we are action-oriented creatures, and we also have the balance of receptivity and passivity and quietude and not doing and intuition and flow. And our world is more oriented to value, these and have these masculine qualities dominate. And so it's really about returning to the feminine. Is really about respecting and honoring this other way of being and doing. And some of the ideas that we have are so embedded in who we are that we don't even see that there's a different possibility. For example, if I work more, then I'll make more money. Okay? This is true, if you're a massage therapist or a service-oriented business like a coach or a jewelry designer or whatever it is, right? Like, the predominant way of thinking is, if I work more, I will make more money. However, for me, I go on vacation and all of a sudden, all sorts of people just show up in my shop on my website and buy things, right? Did I work more to make more money? No, I went on vacation, right? There's an energetic quality of receiving and honoring and nurturing myself that somehow shows up as people being attractive and attracted and purchasing. By the way, if you want to purchase something, head to meetkathywilliams.com/shop. And in that shop, there are some free things and classes on relationship cords, which if you cut relationship cords, you are doing yourself such a disservice. Please don't cut cords, and learn how to get rid of cords the right way with that class in my shop. But, so here we have this long-standing idea, and this is a very masculine idea, right? Do to get. I do the service, I get money. And we can see that it works, right? There's a lot of evidence that it works. And not so much evidence for us, because most of us don't live this way, of be to receive. Relax to have what you want show up. Okay? And I'm not saying make a vision board and just sit in front of it all day long and expect your stuff to come up. No, certainly, right? We have this dynamic balance of yin and yang for a reason. It's not just, now Kathy's saying honor the feminine, so I'm just going to become passive and sit in my room all day. Certainly not. I'm not saying that. It's a dynamic balance. So what I'm inviting you to do is question these suppositions, that the presuppositions we build our lives on. And instead, what else could I choose? What other possibilities are there to receive more? To honor all aspects of myself. Okay? Many of us, we have this idea, I'll get the income I want, I'll make the 6 figures if I work more. Yes, but you can be so involved in the busyness over in one direction that you don't see the ripe fruit hanging here if you would just relax and turn your head and see it and receive a new idea that makes you even more money. Okay? So before the break, I talked a little bit about the feminine path of allowing yourself to express the divine as and through you, right? Not having to transcend your body in order to do it, right? Sit in meditation. Yes, sitting and meditating is useful. I did it for many years, at least 2 hours a day, every day. And what my spiritual teachers would say to me that I never really understood was we would be in a room, right? All these women in a room, sometimes men. You, to another person, you go fast. You do this chant every day. You, other person, cut out dairy or whatever. You do this seva, which is selfless service. And then they'd come to me and they'd be like, you, Kathy, go to the spa every week. Like, what? That's not a spiritual practice, man. Give me some kind of mantra to do, right? And this happened repeatedly with different gurus and different teachers. Of course, some gurus gave me a mantra, and so I started to look at, like, what is going on here that they're inviting me to that's going to help me open up spiritually. And the commonality was, whether it was an Indian guru or a Hawaiian shaman or an American awakened woman, the commonality was honor the feminine, nurture the feminine. Your body is an aspect of the divine. You're not here to give up the body to find God. You're here to embody God through the body. And so I would go to the spa every week, and after I did, I'd have to email the guru, which was really funny to me, but that's what I had to do. And then the kahuna, the Hawaiian shaman, said, Kathy, every day I want you to do something that's nurturing for you. So use a nice body wash and really enjoy that in the shower. Have a cup of tea and sit and enjoy that. Okay? And they never said why they were having me do these things. Oh, the American woman? Close the door, lock it, and masturbate. And it's like, what? But they were all designed to bring an element of pleasure into everyday life, bring an element of receptivity, right? Using a nice body wash, really enjoying applying that. That is the feminine. That is the nurturing. That is the element of receiving. And that is equally valid as a spiritual path to sitting and meditating. It is the tantric path. Tantric means that which is woven, right? It's woven into everyday life. I was in India about a decade ago. This is the last time I was there. And I went to Isha. Isha is the place of Sadhguru. And if you don't know who Sadhguru is, he's this lovely, lovely guru who has a place both in Tennessee and in India. And he was talking, I was in this big hall, so probably 500 people were in there. And he was talking about the fact that, so many people go to the temple to honor God and to honor the elements. So when we go to the temple, there are the gods there. Whether it's Durga or Shiva or Lakshmi, the goddess of abundance, or Saraswati, the goddess of education, creativity, and or Kali, any of them, right? We go there and we take elements. Okay, we take water. We take a candle or a deepa of some type, a light. We take some kind of food, like an orange. And we take these things and incense often. And each of these is representative of earth, right? Earth is the fruit, or is the yogurt. Water, as water. Fire, you have that light. Air, the incense. And we have all of these things. And we think that that is honoring God. Okay? Yet, he said, why do you not honor the water as the shower that you cleanse yourself with? Why do you not honor the fire as the element that cooks your food, whether that's a gas stove or a microwave or whatever it is? Why do you not honor the air as the prana, the energy that you breathe, or as any scent that wafts through the air? Why do you not honor the earth as the bed you sleep on, the food you eat, the body you inhabit? That's all available too. And as those words sort of rippled into my life, taking a shower became a spiritual experience, because the divine is showing up to gift me as water. It's not that I have to go to a church or a temple or a woods to connect. It's right here. And we miss it. So with that shift in perspective, everything becomes sacred. You don't have to disassociate from your life experience. You don't have to retract your energy and go to a cave or a monastery. The divine is right here, showing up and gifting you in every moment. So even many of the things that have been sort of maligned by spiritual traditions over the years, like sex. You know, sex is such a potent arena to play in, and it's filled with possibility for connection and tapping in to the divine in yourself and in another. It's all about honoring the masculine and the feminine, and one is not greater than the other. And so a lot of, you know, it's so interesting how, as you know, certain religions became more dominant on the planet, we've taken these ideas that the body or everyday life is not something sacred. Sacred is, you know, one place that we go once a week. That's what's sacred. And it's like, that is the deepest disservice we can do to humanity, is cut ourselves off from the sacred in everyday life. Right? We can live as though everything is sacred or nothing is sacred. That's the truth. We could say none of it's sacred, or we could say all of it's sacred. But sacred is not confined to one place or one person who's holier than you. The priest, the nun, the lama, the guru. Okay? They're not more holy than you are. They may know that they're God, and you may not know that or recognize that in your day-to-day living. But the only difference between the guru and you is that they know what they are. And you are that too. One of the most potent practices for helping me tap into that, because we each have a story. Oh, I'm not divine because I did this, right? I do all these, I lie, I don't know, I doubt myself, I do all these things, right? Like I'm not as powerful as the guru. Okay, well, that is your story. And as long as you keep identifying with that story, that's what's going to show up for you. Which is why on the show, I talk again and again and again about the mirror exercise. Because If you will take 10 minutes out of your day to sit in front of the mirror, and every thought that shows up, you remind yourself, I am not that. I am not that story. I am not that sensation. I am not that feeling. I am not that memory. I am not that. And you look into your own eyes, you begin to see the radiance that you are. And it's a fast process. It's not like I sat and I meditated for 2 hours a day for a long time, right? That did not get me to this place of being. Okay? If you commit to sitting for 10 minutes in front of the mirror for a whole month, every 30 days, okay? Every day for 30 days, sitting and looking into your own eyes and reminding yourself that you're not your past, you're not your story, you're not anything that has ever happened to you. You are not any thought that has ever gone through your head. You are none of that. Right? Just reminding yourself, I am not that story. I am not that. I am not anything that comes and goes. You will have transformation and it will be fast. You will begin to see this glorious radiance that is in you, as you, all of the time. Most of the time, you're just too identified with your story and the stress related to it to see what you truly are. So, do it and email me letting me know how it goes. Even if you're skeptical, it'll be an interesting experiment. Always feel free to get in touch with me at meetkathywilliams.com. And I would love to hear about your experience with the mirror exercise, because it is one of the most powerful practices I've ever been given by an awakened person. Okay? It helps you wake up to the divine that you are. With that, we will go to a break, and maybe during the break, if you have the opportunity, sit in front of a mirror. There's a beautiful...
The future of internet radio is here. OMTimes Radio, IOM FM.
Ascending Hearts is no ordinary dating site, but a spiritual dating site with a purpose, to link you with your soulmate. We engineer the serendipity so you can trust that you will attune with someone that has the same matching vibration as you. Ascending Hearts, the conscious dating site for the spiritually aware. Try Ascending Hearts for free. ascendinghearts.com.
Hey everyone. Thanks for listening to Sexy Mom Abundant Life. I'm so grateful you're here. As a listener, you can pop over to meetkathywilliams.com and get 20% off any item in the shop, including videos, energy pulls, even private sessions, by entering the code SMRadio. Also at meetkathywilliams.com, you can download a free Create Your Life exercise and join me for online classes and Hawaii retreats. And if you're stuck, helping you get unstuck is my specialty. I'd love to work with you one-on-one.
More than 24 million Americans have an autoimmune disorder, and that number continues to grow. I'm Sharon Saylor, and I'm one of those 24 million. To put that number in perspective, cancer affects about 9 million and heart disease up to 22 million. That's why I've brought together top experts and those thriving regardless of their diagnosis to bring you the latest, most up-to-date information. Join me, Sharon Saylor, Friday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, for the Autoimmune Hour on Life Interrupted Radio to find out how to live your life uninterrupted.
You came across someone struggling with hunger. How would you recognize them? Would you notice an 8-year-old girl who's not excited for summer break because she may not be having lunch again until September? Or a war veteran who's having a hard time landing
a job and getting back on his feet?
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Sexy Mom Abundant Life. This is Kathy Williams, and I'm so grateful you're here. If you would like to be in touch with me, my website is meetkathywilliams.com, and feel free to send a comment through there. I'm also frequently on YouTube, and YouTube handle and Instagram handle are both Kathy Williams Public Figure. Love Instagram as well. I have lots of little reels with tools and tidbits for you to enjoy. So, our show today is on embodying the divine feminine. And the divine feminine, it shows up in so many ways. There's a power that is the goddess, right? It's not a passive thing. If you are embodying the divine feminine, you are connected to the fact that you are one with the divine already. And to act and function this way is to continue to tap into whether you're functioning from your ego or from your spirit. Okay? And a simple question is, am I functioning from ego or spirit? Anytime you're criticizing yourself, like in a negative way or down on yourself, you're functioning from ego. Now, that's not I could do this better, right? That was not a useful action to take. In the future, I'll do it better, right? Or what would work for me instead of, the way I said that was kind of rude. How could I say it differently? Like, that is functioning from spirit, right? There's an element of love. There's not fear in that. It's self-assessment with the purpose of refining yourself. And refining oneself is a goddess activity, right? We're refining our actions, refining our speech, refining the way we interact in life, refining the places we put our attention, refining our thoughts. Many of us have the pattern of thinking negatively, dwelling on things that didn't work well. And that is not the way a goddess would function on the planet. You know, maybe you didn't say the thing that you would have liked to have said. Okay, can you resolve it? Can you make it better at this point? And if not, okay, cool. How will I use this to create a different future? That's all. So there is an element of self-discipline in being and embodying the goddess. It's not all passive, right? But there is this receptivity as well. So there is a sense of not fighting against life. This is what's showing up in my life. Okay, all is divine. I'm an element of that. How can I navigate this? How can I do this in a way that makes life better for not only me, right, my ego, but functioning from spirit for the larger picture? So what action can I take? And this includes, we talked earlier about honoring the elements in all things, in the shower you're taking, in the food that you're eating, honoring that all of it is sacred. Also, honoring the sacred in the person who shows up with you, in front of you, whether they're the grocery store clerk or the crying child or the disgruntled ex. Honoring the sacred in them that's showing you something and presenting you with something. that you can dance with in this divine dance. In Sanskrit, there's a word for that called lila, the divine play. Okay? Knowing that it's all a play, it's all an interplay of different energies, gives some sense of empowerment. Oh, there are these energies showing up, right? Namaste. I bow to the sacred in you and in myself, right? I'm not going to give up myself for them. And also, how can I create more for the whole with my actions, with my words, with my being, my presence? And if we look at, some of the things that have been sort of scorned in the religions that are most dominant, one of those is also taking pride in your appearance, right? Because that's prideful or whatever. But we could also see that, as some of my spiritual teachers did, as, that same nourishment that I talked about, giving myself weekly at the spa or daily with a nice body wash, as I'm honoring the divine by brushing my hair, right? If you have a child, you're not going to just send them to school with, well, maybe you will, with ratty hair. Right? Like honoring that this too is divine, and beauty is an element of the goddess, right? So I, in a class that is one I've taken, one of the practices was take pride in the way you adorn yourself, and not as something that's egoic, but in I am honoring the divine in me as I get dressed, as I choose what to wear, as I choose the earrings, and I'm expressing the goddess through this. So not only can I be radiant and radiate the love and the care and the nurturing through my presence, through my eyes, through my actions, but also in the enjoyable way that I look. Okay? It's not something that's shallow. Okay? It's a treasure. It's a part of honoring the goddess and transmuting, and also countering those old patterns that we've grown up with of the body as just something to be transcended. Like we get to enjoy life later and not now. It's like, no, the tantric path is to honor the body and adorn the body. What kind of textures feel good on my body? What makes me feel radiant? Is it the lipstick or the earrings or whatever? And receive the attention and even the judgment that might come from other people. We're adorning ourselves to feed us embodying and radiating as an expression of the divine and as the goddess that we are. So let's go back a moment to criticism, because one of the things that I was asked to speak about this week is pivoting when you're in a low place, or self-love, right? It's stepping more into self-love, and some of these practices of the mirror exercise or adorning yourself with the colors and the textures and the makeup that you really enjoy is an act of self-love. Using the body wash in the shower is an act of self-love. And then pivoting, inviting yourself to see, am I functioning from ego or from spirit, is an act of self-love to redirect so we don't get enmeshed in that self-judgment, because that self-judgment is actually disregarding the divine. You're saying that what's shown up is not God, and that's incorrect. Right? So you're severing your connection to God by dwelling on the negative, going into self-criticism, anger with yourself, frustration. Right? If it's not useful, you're actually severing your awareness of your connection with the divine. And that's not to judge, it's just all you have, you're just another thought away from reconnecting. Okay, that action I took, or this thing that's a problem for me, this is also part of the divine. If I'm functioning from spirit, if I'm functioning as the goddess I truly am, what's possible now? The goddess, knowing that you're a part of the goddess. And when I was in India, I imagined this, like, right? Like, Earth is in the little toe of the goddess. It's tiny. and because the guru was telling a story about being part of the goddess, right? And so I'm like, oh, okay, Earth is tiny. It's a tiny little part of the goddess, like in the goddess' little toe. And she was like, Earth is like an atom in the body of the goddess. Any and all things are part of the goddess, a part of the divine. Part of, and the goddess meaning consciousness made manifest in physical form. Okay. There's Shiva and there's Shakti. Shiva is the pure consciousness, unmanifested physical form, and the goddess is its expression as abundance, Lakshmi, as creation and creativity, Saraswati, as mother, nurturing mother, Durga, a fierce mother, Durga or Kali. And this is the Hindu way of expressing that, but there's also from different traditions, Bridget or Isis or, all these different goddess traditions that recognize that each of these archetypes of the goddess is one aspect of the divine. Okay. And that by tapping into and observing and connecting with those energies, you enhance or light up those energies within yourself as you, because you are an aspect of the divine as well. It's not, I'm going to worship that because that's an outside thing from me that will then fulfill my desires. It's no, I'm by recognizing that this is here, it's present, it's God showing up as, let's say creativity and music and writing, and that let me activate those potentialities in me and expand those. And that's why you would sit with one of these images or statues and reflect on it, because you're asking to invite more of that to radiate through you, as you, in every interaction. God is outside of you, but God is also within you, present in every breath, present in every action, present in every word, even the words that aren't very nice. There's nothing else that life can be made of right? And if you don't like the word God, use universe, use divine source, use light, whatever it is. Right? It's all the same. It's semantic. So choose what you like. There's nothing else for anything to be made of. So if you have questions about this, I have formed a meetup group. It is in Kihei, Hawaii. I forgot the name of it. It's called like spirituality. I don't know. It's on my website. Oh. And come tap into some of the free classes and get on the mailing list at meetkathywilliams.com. We have a lot going on, and it's just fun to be connected. So I look forward to seeing you soon, and be in touch. YouTube or Instagram, Kathy Williams, public figure. Thanks so much for being here with me, and have a great week, everyone. Aloha.